a stage. Stage 6, right?
Yes.
Panic at the chow hall, and it was very much a panic for many of us.
Yeah. Almost all of us, in fact. Only
Pretty
one
much.
clear.
We only had one person clear. The advent of the stage is that you're on the table with your mags all scattered around like you're at the chow hall, I guess. And then suddenly a series of tires and ammo crates attacks.
Yeah.
And you have to clear the targets and then grab, come to the middle. Depending on if you have a tire or an ammo box, you would shoot the rifle or the pistol respectively. And then you run it to the other side, grab the opposite item. And it's pretty simple. Like, the athleticism is not extreme. I actually, like, right out the gate, I did very well. I actually think I cleared both of them perfectly. I might have had one miss on the right-hand one, but that was a good way to start. And I just pushed through it, and I was feeling really good about the stage. And then, throwing down one of the tires, I jammed my thumb on the tires. It's not the worst I've ever experienced, but it's enough that it's going to be really distracting for the rest of the day. I cleared the rest of the stage pretty good. I parred out with 2. I was just grabbing my rifle, so I had 2 targets left. Okay. I had done the pistol last, I think.
Yeah, and I believe I parred out with 4. So I didn't get to any of the final targets, or I didn't at least eliminate them, if I remember correctly.
You were right at them one way or another.
At them, but didn't seem to.
Yeah. So it's another good example of a stage. It's like, it seems really complicated when you're having it explained to you, and to be fair, it is kind of a mess. But mostly the setup is the mess, because you've got to take everything out that you're going to use on the table and all that kind of stuff. But once you actually start shooting it, it all makes sense, especially after you see a couple people run it before you. And it was really fun. Actually, it's like the exact opposite of yesterday morning, which is just like doing standing still, difficult pistol shooting, feeling cold and like frustrated. This was more just like, just start moving, and it's not so extreme that you're like destroyed, but I'm feeling it basically, is what I'm saying.
Well, it's enough to get your heart pumping. You're maybe not in zone 2, but you're certainly activated.
Correct.
And that means you are just not as clean of a shooter.
Right.
Even though you might be, your physicality comes up, but then your fine motor skills go down, and so you're trying to balance that out. Yeah,
and it was a pretty good balance, because if you were patient and you weren't worrying about the par time, and you actually kind of just went through it smooth, I guess, slow and smooth, it's not like going to destroy you physically. But like when I got up off the table and I made those hits so clean, I just was like, I have to run as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Because I was like, all my heavy stuff is off of my kit, so nothing was going to be banging around on me, and I just used that advantage. And I was going pretty fast, it felt, back and forth. And then it's just not fast enough, because I had just enough mistakes to miss 2 targets, but I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, and that's something I wonder about myself too, is I probably could have cleaned up like a lot of the transitionary movements, like putting the gun down, remembering to grab the right thing. I know I ran past it one time.
Yes.
Little things, which is the classic for me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those things.
Fans of the channel will know.
Yeah.
Really good start to the day, probably. And like I said, I'm not going to try to let this bother me, because I know I'm going to still be able to shoot. On the bright side, I don't have to activate the safety with my thumb, so that's good. And really, it's just grip and like
rip and tear.
Yeah, basically. And hopefully it doesn't tear worse. But guy down there gave me some medical tape to kind of get some pressure on it, and I'm kind of working it out and stuff. So it could be far worse. But the next stage coming up looks almost even more of a cluster bomb.
I think it will be the most of any stage, honestly.
Because it seems like it's a little bit of everything in terms of like what's going to trip you up.
Yeah.
Then after that, we get to do the bonus, where this guy's, it's crazy. We're watching somebody shoot a black powder
revolver,
trying to spin a spinner.
Yeah.
And it's just like doing the sinistral skill check, and it's like, this is such a great environment. So we're gonna chill out and watch a little bit, and the squad in front of us, I think, is starting to wrap up. So we'll catch you after the next one.
Drink more water.
All right, so we were back from stage 7, and we went from one cluster bang to another, basically.
Yeah.
It actually, it's one of those things that wasn't as crazy when you start shooting it. It all really makes sense, but the process of getting ready for it was frustrating. So the match director came and helped expedite the process by basically doing the executive functions with the rifles and everything for specifically for climbing onto the balance board.
Yeah, and then coordinating resetters to be on the line,
Yes.
like making sure that everyone was going precisely in order.
Correct. You start on the balance board, and then you engage the 3 rifle targets downrange.
Yes.
And then from there, part of the weird part about this stage is getting the rifle grounded, which everybody basically just opted to ground instead of deliberately trying to get up off of it, because that's just inviting disaster. And from there you pick the rifle back up, go to the VTAC, where you hit way up there, pretty big sized, but also pretty gray target.
Yeah, at this point it's no longer green. It started green at the beginning of the match, it's now gray.
Yes. Going uphill like that, I started shooting high, and I kept shooting high, and I realized, okay, it's not actually that much calculus that's going on, so I started putting it on target, and then I hit low, but then I got it figured out. So the hold was pretty actually centered, despite being, I don't even know how high that is.
Yeah.
And
We
then,
never hit it with a rangefinder.
Yeah, and you did pretty good on that.
It was, especially after the other stage,
Well, you did actually,
it didn't freak me out, so I was able to just shoot it.
Yeah, you did have a pretty interesting target order that you were doing on the balance board.
Well, I had a confused one also as well, because, basically one of my executive dysfunction on this stage was remembering the number of hits that I needed for which kind of target.
Right.
And so sometimes I'm doing too many, sometimes I'm doing too little, and the RO would have to help coach me in the right direction.
So you basically went all through all 3 of them, and then went back to the first one, because I think at that point you mentioned that you had to do 2.
Yes.
And then either you chose or he just told you to pass the middle one and go to the other one, clear it, and then come back to the middle one, I think.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't remember at this point whose idea it was. We'd have to check the video.
It's one of those things, it's like if you're having trouble with one, just move to the next and then clean it up after.
And that might have been what it was, yeah.
And then like the long range one you did pretty damn good. And then the pistol stuff, on the barricades, there's 4 positions around each barricade. There's 2 of them, and there's 2 pistol targets. But you only have to get 1 hit from each position on both of the 2 targets.
Yes.
And that's something that I tripped up a little bit, but locked back in, and then you had the similar issue too with that.
Yeah, what it is I hit the first one twice and then moved on to the next one. And
you were about to hit the next one twice, and then I said, like, just 1 hit, or something like that.
Yeah.
Josh, just 1 on each.
1 on each, okay.
The really fun, like the highlight of the stage, the physical part of the stage is dragging the dummy, which I don't remember how heavy it is, but it really wasn't that bad.
It wasn't bad. It really is just like the form factor of dragging it behind you.
Awkwardly trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at least at that point you have no guns. You don't have a bunch of stuff on it.
Right.
But I grabbed what looked like the handle that was intended to grab. It's kind of like it looked like a Y harness sort of thing. And then I grabbed it and started running, and it just went with me, and the dummy stayed in one place.
Yep.
It didn't even seem like it was attached, or maybe it broke. But there's an intentional big toe strap that you're supposed to drag it with. So I lost maybe a couple seconds doing that. But you did pretty good dragging it. Really, really. Everybody pretty much got him over the line pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I did a backwards thing because of the little thumb jam from the previous stage. Like, I didn't really want to trust my right hand and then go forward, and I also didn't want to, just in my mind, like going this way, it didn't make sense for whatever reason. So.
And mine was actually intentional from hearing the squad behind us discuss how they were going to shoot stage 6, because they were like, so what are you going to use? Are you going to use your shooting hand, or are you going to use your support hand to carry the weight? Because they were discussing, like, don't tire out this arm. So that's why I went with left-handed full body drag forward.
You want to maintain the dexterity.
It's like in Tarkov, right? Like, you need your arm stamina back.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the dummy portion, and then you go back to the VTAC from there, where your rifle is kept.
Yep.
And then you do the same up the hill target the same way, and then you go back to the balance board for the last set of shooting. Right now I can't remember exactly when I parred out, but I think I got 2 penalties, so I think that means I
cleared the VTAC but didn't make it to the platform. Oh, you would have hit 1 on the platform if it's only 2, because there's 3 on the bottom.
Dude, we were locking it down, remembering all this stuff. It's so fresh in our mind, but that stage, for some reason, I just don't remember where I ended. Still got through the fun stuff, and I got to do everything on the stage, as opposed to some stages where they front load a specific type of challenge, and if you suck at that, you're just kind of screwed. This one, everything was spread out a lot more.
Yeah.
The pistol stuff is like the halfway point, and it's not that incredibly difficult. So no matter what, pretty much everybody got really far if they parred out.
Yeah.
And this time, a good few of the squad members actually completed it. So another good stage, and right now we're about to go to the bonus stage, stage 8, and I'm seeing one of our squad members helping reset, so I think that means that we're on deck. So we'll talk to you when that's over, if we're still alive.
See ya.
Yeah, we'll just scoot over. Okay, so we just, yeah.
As you can tell, just finished doing a Casarda drill.
Yes. And you attempted the sinistral skill check.
Yes.
So since you went first, unfortunately, I'm putting you on the block.
All right.
Tell your tale.
It is the chopping block here because the tail is 3 empty magazines and no completion. First rifle spinner ever. First spinner, technically, that I've ever tried to spin. There were spinners in a previous stage, but I just cleared them normally.
Yes.
It really was a game of my skill at shooting the target and observing in order to know what to do next. I couldn't bring all of those things into alignment to actually get the picture down. So there were times where I was close, but then as soon as I lost my mental momentum and the spinner lost its physical momentum, okay, I might reset, I might try again. You hit a reload. Basically, just really wasn't in sync.
From my observations, and you said that the RO mentioned you. What did he say to you? Don't be greedy.
Yeah, he said don't be greedy. So instead of, because I was basically relying on trying to be aggro like on the bottom swing, because it would be easier to double tap it than to try to move on and hit the next one. But I think it just doesn't actually impart force the way you want.
If you were slightly early, then it.
Yeah.
The weight is not in such as to where you're maximizing the force.
And then I'm losing time that I should be taking to actually hit the top one. And so I wasn't fully building the momentum in both directions like I needed to, like relying on the pendulum nature of it.
You were actually getting some pretty good top hits. I noticed a lot of them were like pretty much at the sweet spot, or maybe you were just a bit late to it.
I was a bit left a couple times though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I had a good location that I liked to hit it, but then sometimes a little left because again, when you rushing the bottom, I wasn't giving myself enough time to recover, make it back up top, and have a good hit.
Yeah.
So I essentially just was learning on the clock how to approach a spinner with a rifle, and it didn't work, but that's okay. It was a bonus match for one thing.
That is the best time to try it.
And yeah, it's real fun for us. It's currently the only time to try it, so we'll have to see.
That's true. And all of those things that you just said are the reason why I just chose to just go for the Casarda drill.
Yeah.
Because the Casarda drill isn't like, you know, it's very difficult and it's physically taxing. And especially people in like armored and stuff, like they get really just tapped out by the end of it.
And if you win the rifle, you're going to give it to me anyway, though, right?
I'll sell it to you.
Okay, that works.
Oh yeah, because that's the thing about the bonus. Either one of these, if you complete it, you're in a raffle to win a what would Stoner do rifle of some designation. The Casarda drill is the classic that it's been from the very beginning, and we have a lot of experience doing it ourselves. But we, and I swear, just due to availability of kettlebells at Walmart, you know, near us, we've only used a 35 as our highest, and it's a significant difference. 50 is pretty heavy. And I didn't do any test throws. My inspiration is that the whole reason it's being included as a bonus is because the Casarda drill was retired because it just got old and samey, right? And it takes up a whole stage. And the second that happened, everybody whined and pitched a fit about it being gone. So to prove that no one wants to do it, they'll ask for something and then not do it when they get it. They include it as a bonus. However, it seems like the exact opposite has happened because
it does seem like a lot of people ended up doing it.
Yeah, 90% of our squad chose the Casarda drill, and a lot of them I think would be really proficient with spinners. Right? We've seen some really good, I mean, just crazy shooting in our squad and all across this match. But they chose it deliberately because it's what they wanted to do. So I wanted to do it because if this was the last time to do one officially on the books, I knocked it out. I got a 50 something. I think is what it was, which is just...
After bonuses, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like as good as I really can expect. I did it ungeared, I did it slick. It kind of performance was almost a factor for me in this one instead of just having fun, because I I was unsure about how well I'd be able to make throws. And I was making some pretty good throws, and I was clicked on to the classic technique. You throw it and you don't even care where it's going, because you're gonna figure it out when you pick up the rifle. Throw it, your eyes immediately go to your gun, your hand goes on the gun, and you get up and you go. And then the same thing with going down. Like these cheap Amazonian knee pads just made the stage for me. Like if I didn't have this, I mean, I was just chucking myself down. If you attempt this stuff, I mean, you know, this was $30 or whatever. You can get way nicer ones that actually stay tightened the way you want them tightened. But the hard knee pads just like gave me that time, basically. Ultimately, it was really fun, and I'm glad we had a chance to participate in 2 challenging things that like we really don't have the same experience with elsewhere, you know. So now we're back to stage 1 for our last stage, and we've got a lot of waiting to do. Apparently, there's a lot of time in between. So come on in. Here's one of our squad mates.
Hi there.
We're talking about the Casarda. If you want to share your experience.
Oh, so yeah, I did a Casarda for. I've done Casarda before. I think I got like midway before I quit though. Before that, they also had like a pistol section before that, so that kind of like held me on. So did the Casarda. I think I was doing pretty well. I was making some good time, and then
Very well.
yeah, and then I kind of slipped up and DQ'd myself.
The gravel's pretty loose.
Yeah, that's not a fun place to do Casarda just because the gravel.
And you actually made it over the last line.
Yeah, that's also what makes it more like disappointing. It's like, yeah, I got it over the line, and I would have just had one more shot, and then nope.
You would have had a very good run. Do you remember? Did they tell what was the time?
I think my last shot was like around 130 something.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, I didn't realize I was going that fast. So
You were doing very good.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean stuff like that happens. And
Yeah.
and it is also kind of like what we were talking about. Like it's good that something like that happened on the bonus stage.
Yeah.
You know, so it has no bearing.
Yeah, to be very specific, it's that a DQ on the bonus match is not a DQ on the main match.
Correct.
So playing a little loosey-goosey was a little more allowed there.
Yes.
It just means this last stage, I'm like, I want to try to get it. Would like to ace this stage. So
It seems like it's going to be pretty intricate. There's some long range stuff, and then there's some handgun stuff, and then there's kettlebell drag up the hill. That's all I know.
yeah.
So yeah, when we run that, we'll tell you what we thought about it. So stick around.
Till next time.
Okay, well, that was our last stage of today and the last stage of our match, and that was stage 1. So stage 1 begins with a pretty challenging 400-yard shot in the dark kind of shade, and that's like a really small target, I think, that was out there.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a large target, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
400 is just long distance.
Yes.
And it was
not oversized to accommodate it.
correct.
Yeah.
And there wasn't as much gamification of like, oh, you can see where people missed or this or that, or like it used to be green, so it's green on the edges. It very much was just like a gray target, almost similar to stage walking closer to the one target.
Oh yeah, the tripwires one?
Tripwires.
Yeah.
Yes, whichever stage number that was.
Mm-hmm.
Pause for edit.
4. Yes, it was 4, actually, because 5 is a long range one.
So yeah, it reminded me of stage 4. In that one, you were kind of just looking at a two-tone gray on a brown background, and it was fairly difficult to see.
Yes, they did have a light on it, a flasher. The flasher like flashes in a weird way. Like flashes, and then it like does 2 residual ones for some reason.
See, and those threw me off.
Yes.
Because, and I think even this happened for other people.
Yeah. They seem like hits.
Yeah. There's no discredit to the RO. I'm sure she knows better than I.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, but that person might have gotten 2 hits. If you're just looking at the lights were still flashing.
But
like if you were able to double tap it at 400, which is understandably a very difficult feat.
Yeah.
But the residual flash is like, it's not quite a double tap if there's like a pause for a second or two.
I will say I'm pretty sure at one point the RO knew to call that there was 2 hits when someone effectively did do like shot and hit during the sequence.
Okay.
Because I was thinking this the whole time, which is why I really deliberately shot and I actually waited for them to stop.
Yes.
mostly to like control my trigger and everything, but also just to like not even chance the frustration of like feeling like there, because I didn't know how it worked. So yeah, that's 400, and that's pretty tight target. You actually just destroyed it.
Which
and
I
you
don't
wouldn't
think makes it on the video.
You wouldn't know that he did because I didn't film that segment, but that's not that bad because he didn't film my entire run.
Entire run, yeah.
So you feel like an ounce of what is the word? Retribution.
Yeah.
For that. Anyway, there's the 400, and there's fairly easy 100 and 200 at the different barrels. And once you clear the 3 positions at those targets, then you start over again. So you do that whole thing twice, and at that point you clear the rifle, and then you run up and you have to drag the kettlebell up the mountain, which really wasn't hard at all. It was like very talked up,
Yeah.
but it was like super easy. And I was, again, because of my like injury back down there, I was like a little worried about that, but it was just really easy for me just to get the grip with the rope fast too, and then just like not even sweat it. And I swear it was fast. You wouldn't know because it wasn't recorded.
Yeah, just imagine, take mine and add a few seconds to it.
Yeah, well, because that's the thing, is that once you pull the kettlebell up, then you start your pistol shooting, and right off the bat you have an Iron Maiden target, which is a steel target with a hole in the middle. You can use it in a couple of creative ways, but this time it was just there. It wasn't a no shoot with another target behind it. It was just the target.
Yeah, it was just hit the target, but your normal point of aim is not there. You have to either go low or go high, depending on your confidence level.
Your confidence. So that was actually really easy to clear, even with that little bit of extra challenge. But then next to it was a mini Mo target. And a mini Mo target has a hole in the center and a head it's on a hinge. And you knock the head down, and then to reset it, you hit the plate through the hole in the center. And we're
pops
talking,
it back up.
And it pops it back up. Yeah, there's like a mechanism in it. And that hole is like probably actually bigger than this.
I was going to say no more than 4 inches.
It's pretty
probably
small.
2 or 3. Yeah.
Pretty small. And again, like we've been saying this whole time, any dynamic targets we have no experience with, and this is one of them. So I actually cleared the first one, and I felt really good about it. And I'm like, okay, this is actually not that bad. It's really not that bad. And then I flew through the Iron Maiden, and then the second position, I'm like, maybe it will be that bad, and I just got lucky. So I cleared the Iron Maiden first, which was pro gamer move, because it basically saved me an extra 60-second penalty.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would have dropped both, because end of the story is I dropped the mini Mo. So I parred out on that, and eventually I did reach the point where I was just sending bullets down at it.
Yeah.
Because I just lost all hope of actually regaining a strategy. And I almost wish that I pushed it further because it would have been more flashy and more fun. Not that you would have gotten to see it, because I don't know if we mentioned this, but my run wasn't filmed. It's the kind of thing I think everybody at the end of the stage said that they want to buy one now for their home ranges or their local match ranges where they compete, because it's something that you just have to overcome and learn. So that's my end of the thing. So then your run up with the rope and the kettlebell, like from that point forward, like what were your impressions?
Essentially didn't have too much difficulty with it relative to the difficulty of the target. So it definitely cost me time, it cost me ammo, and I had to really like focus up. But once I did that, I was able to kind of get it down.
You did pretty well with it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. The wheels of fate fun in my direction this time.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get zoned out of the pistol when I was shooting it, and so therefore I was able to clear it decently.
Yeah, really decent. And there was someone in our squad who had the crink, and who he let us shoot afterwards, which was a lot of fun. But I mean, he did really well on that. Given he did well on any stage at range, given that rifle that he was using.
Yeah, it really just goes to show you that as much as people can say one platform is inferior to another, there is a level of skill that will completely overcome that.
True.
And he had it.
And these are all modern, fighting rifles. This is what they're designed to do. It's just some of them you have to work a little harder to get the job done. Hello.
I suppose either of you guys want one last singular shot of tequila, because I'm not taking this.
All right, cheers.
Shit.
I mean, this part, no, you're good, man. This is okay.
Cheers. So yeah, I guess that's it, actually. That was the end of the stage.
Okay, that's the end of the stage.
That's the end of the stage.
Now what do we say?
So the match is over, and it is Sunday.
Yep.
And we ran all the stages. Those are 3 true statements.
Yep.
this is the overall impressions that we got. First of all, getting out here and being able to do this is a really wonderful opportunity for anybody. The environment is stunning. Even if you live in the Northeast, it's a beautiful spot. The stages are all basically a really good balance between physicality, marksmanship, planning to a degree. Not that either of us really came up with stage plans.
Yeah.
And then really good people. All the ROs were excellent. They each had their own little spin personalities that came through, but each of them consistently ran stages efficiently, even when 3 squads were queued to shoot the same stage. Everything worked. And targets were broken, not by us. Things broke, people got disqualified, but stuff happens. Everything runs smoothly. Finally, it's just the trying to say this without sounding weird, but the sensation of it, right? Or the adrenaline that builds. We started pretty fresh Saturday morning. Had a rough start to the day, but then things smoothed out and we just started doing what we know, which if you've watched the channel for any amount of time, thank you very much. There's a good handful of you, I think, that aren't us.
I was going to say probably about 10 that aren't us.
Yeah.
But you guys are the true believers.
Yes. And if you do watch the channel, you know that like when we run stages, like we have decisions that have to get made based around our limitations. And we sure as hell cannot reach out to 500 yards.
Yeah.
But somehow, through the power of 5.56, you managed to reach out to 509 yards, I think we lased it.
Yes, I think we lased at 509, and there were reports of it being up to 518. So
Right.
it depends on your rangefinder.
Right, with an unmagnified red dot.
Yep.
So that's kudos for that. All the whole time just having experienced our small little world that we create for ourselves for fun on the weekends. Our entire journey has just been having a desire to do something and then applying it as best as possible with our limitations, and then having fun in the process, learning a little bit in the process. But even people like us who have only had brief experience running steel challenge matches, 2 of them in total, I'll just say it, only a couple, we were able to get out there over these 2 days and really perform. Not perfectly, but we were able to go out and we were able to perform. Now, competing is a different thing, right? But you were able to go out and get near the end of stages, or at least halfway through, have fun, and spend 4 minutes shooting like crazy, like your life depends on it. It was just a really eye-opening experience, and I think that you too can experience this.
While we might have been the least match experienced people there, we had done so much to recreate everything from the videos that we had been watching for, in my case, like 5 years. Yours probably, what, 10? I don't know.
Maybe not quite, but it's been
Sure,
a while.
We'll round up. Making our channel and the videos you've been watching look like the ones that we were watching from in-range.
Right.
And the other brutalities. But there were people there that just had indoor ranges. The experience that we got proved that experience is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
And so whether it's going out and having somebody run you at a steel challenge match, USPSA, 2-gun action challenge, 3-gun,
Anything you can shoot.
or doing something in your own backyard with your friends.
It was really eye-opening just meeting great people. Very, very, very welcoming and open people that are extremely talented and extremely knowledgeable as well.
And encouraging. I mean, the
Yeah.
level of positivity cannot be understated.
Right.
There was no judgment of any kind. You were never made to feel less than, regardless of your performance.
Right.
Really, you were never even, like, at least in our squad, we were incredibly lucky. You were
Yep.
never left out. It was always a good job. It was always, hey man, you tried your best. You know, your efforts went as far as they could at every stage.
Absolutely. Overall, the stages were a really good mix of skills. Some surprising things. We really shined where we didn't expect to.
Yeah.
And if it, like we said, like if you if you haven't watched any of our stuff and this is the first introduction to our channel, if you go back and look, I mean, we are basically just buffoons, right? That just flail ourselves around, make pretty easy challenges for ourselves, and then shoot it, call it a day. But that little bit, something clicked where we were able to elevate ourselves to be present here, you know?
Well, but I will say, like, to give ourselves at least a little bit more credit, even if we crammed it in at the last minute, we went out and practiced long-range shooting.
Yeah.
Something we'd never done before.
That's true.
We went to a new public range.
Right.
Something we'd never done before.
Paid a fee.
At least collectively, paid a fee.
To get in.
Started literally putting our money where our mouth is,
Right.
and shooting at distances we had never shot.
Yes.
And I know for me, that's what gave me any level of comfortability of having a hold to even know about.
Correct.
And when it came to pistol shooting and Steel Challenge and like getting ready on iron sights again just a few weeks before.
Yeah.
Even though we did no pistol shooting for weeks after that.
Correct.
In between the match and our Steel Challenge
Correct.
match.
We shot with somebody that bought a rifle 10 years ago.
I think you're forgetting what year it is. 20-some years ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Put it in a cabinet. He brought it out, decided he wanted to do this. Was a fan of in-range videos and just decided this was going to be the year. And it was the first year for us too. And he was just a wizard. Like, he was just really good.
Yeah, incredibly good at pistol.
Really good at handgun, and just even his rifle work with his RDB was just like really good.
Yeah, and infamously an RDB.
Infamously, as anyone that's watched the channel might know.
Yeah.
We kind of hope we fall asleep and then wake up and it's Friday morning again, but it's just not going to happen. So we're going to go home and take what we learned and try to apply it to some self-improvements and hit it again next year. So we hope that you enjoyed this potentially series of videos, I'm assuming, and I hope it inspires you to get out there and practice and make some connections with people and better your skills and compete, because competition is not as scary to us now as it seemed before. Because it was only a little scary before, but now it's reverse scary.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. So I guess that about does it.
Yeah.
And then we'll see you next time we kick barrels down our driveway path.
Yeah.
Or whatever
we do next to post a video.
whatever we're going to do next. We're going to have a VTech barricade in 2 weeks.
Yes.
There's a promise.
Guaranteed.
Promise.